Welcome to Medford Happenings, a show for and about the city of Medford. I am John Petrella, and the purpose of this program is to give Medford citizens facts and information to help you make informed choices. Our guest for the show today is Nate Merritt, better known as the Kid from Riverside. The reason Nate is joining us today is Nate is a candidate for our Medford City Council, and I would also like to mention that Nate is often in attendance at City Council meetings. He speaks up on issues and concerns for the residents of Medford. So I want to thank you, Nate, for joining us today. Looking forward to you answering some questions. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, John.
Okay, so the first question, or what I always like to start off with, is who's Nate Merritt? Give us a little background. Tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. So my name's Nate. I'm actually a systems engineer, bachelor's and master's out of UMass Amherst. I've been working as an engineer for 17 years. I was born and raised in Western Mass, so I am not from Medford.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But I moved out here in around 2009 and met my wife, and I actually knew her from college before, but we got together, and yeah. So my mom was a nurse, my dad was a fireman, and he was on the job for 30 years, and I grew up on a small tree farm, and it's something I still keep up today. So I myself went into the fire service, and it's funny because my dad would say, son, don't go into the fire service. There's a lot of politics.
Right.
So, well, sorry, Dad, because not once now, but twice.
Yeah.
So I'm actually 25 years now as a mass certified EMT, and I'm a private pilot.
Yep.
Husband, I got 2 young boys. They're great. And I bought my home on Riverside Ave in 2014. About 5 months later, after first buying my home, my welcome to Medford was a car crashing through my front yard, taking out my whole front fence, and it hit the building next door.
Riverside Ave.
Riverside Ave.
Yep,
And that's what
there
brought
you
me
go.
to the city council my first time.
Yeah.
There was something happening at the building next door. They were going to open a business, and I was worried about the traffic flow because it's probably one of the strangest intersections
Right.
that you can see where the stoplight is before the driveways.
Yes, yep.
And so I just raised a concern because of the traffic flow. I didn't want to see anyone else get hurt. So that brought me to city council, and since then I've tried to offer practical solutions whenever I can. Not just be a complainer, but try to offer some solutions. So, for example, and I don't even remember when it was,
Right.
but there was talk of needing money for, I don't know if it was the fire station, the library, so on and so forth. Instead of raising taxes, I said, hey, what if you gave people the option in their property tax bill to make a donation? And if you look in the upper right corner of your property tax bill, you'll see a spot to make a donation for the library, the police station, or the fire department. And that was an idea I came up with during public comments at a city council meeting. So obviously someone heard me, and
They took your advice. It was a good idea.
there we go.
Yeah,
So
that's a good thing.
yeah, I'm a person, I believe in limited government.
Yep.
We're 5 miles from a group of people 250 years ago that maybe thought the same thing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that said, government should work for the people and not necessarily the other way around.
Yep.
And we should always be careful if we're infringing on individual liberties. That's what this country was founded on. But I also understand the need for government.
Right.
So it's a balance.
Yes. Yep. It is. Yep. And your father, like I said, now you're really getting into politics now. So, all right. So you gave us a good introduction there. What reasons are making you run for a seat on the city council? I mean, why do you want the job?
I'll be honest with you, John, I don't want the job. I'd much
Good
rather...
answer. Honest answer.
I'd rather be at home playing with my kids than spending time at city
Right.
council meetings,
Yeah.
even now, and I've said that before. But I think, unfortunately, we can either complain about it or we can do something about it. So I'm at the point where it's time to try to do something. I think we need to give a voice back to the people. I think, unfortunately, the way things have been running for the past 2 years, For example, you look at recent meetings that have happened with zoning, especially on Salem Street, and I was there and I saw people for hours sitting there making comments and concerns, and there was, the Community Development Board had incorporated suggestions from, the residents, and I watched a city councilor just say, yeah, I don't like that, change it, and just go their own way. And to me, that's not sad. I think that I can also start giving some critical thought to some issues. I think that people are maybe good intentioned, but I think we need to start weighing pros and cons of things, and especially always asking the question, how does it benefit the residents of Medford today?
That's awesome. That should be number one.
Absolutely.
Always should be the residents of Medford.
Absolutely. So I'm honestly, I'm kind of tired of sitting back and watching the agenda
Yep.
removing the rights of our citizens.
Yep.
So we have rent control on the table. You got a tree ordinance coming up. You've got the zoning. I saw what happened with the charter.
Right.
And same
Yep.
thing where the voice of the people was lost
Correct. Yep.
unilaterally.
Okay.
I think our sense of community is deteriorating, and there's an agenda, and it's being plowed forward. They're plowing forward with it, John.
Okay. No, I agree. I agree. I hear you. So that's a good answer. Great answer, actually. So, you've given us some good reasons. Those are good reasons why you're running for a seat on the city council. Can you, and I'm going to ask you this question, but I've been to City Hall. I've seen you offer solutions. As a matter of fact, you seem to offer a lot of solutions, but, I'm going to go ahead and ask, what solutions do you have? You can just pick out one or two from the answers you just gave me, but what solutions are you do you think you can come up with, or you have, for the concerns you just told us about?
Well, I think something that could be done even today is, sometimes these city council meetings go long, and there's a lot of people that want to be heard. And I've been there till 12, 1 in the morning, and I've seen people that want to talk,
Right.
and they go home because they have jobs in the morning, or, right, they just can't stay up that late. And I've seen sometimes where the agendas have been rejiggered, and we're talking about national issues that the city of Medford can impact, but we're sucking the oxygen out of the room instead of dealing with the local ones. And people want to speak about the local issues, but that gets tabled until after 11, 12 p.m. So I think something we could do is, if the meeting runs past 11 o'clock, we're done, shut it down, table the rest of the agenda to the next week. Everyone should be heard. And when it's running that late, that's not fair to anybody. And we shouldn't be making decisions literally in the dark of the night.
No, and I think everyone has seen that happen. On more than one occasion where the meetings have gone incredibly late. And, I'll just chime in with, I've been there where important issues get pushed back. And there'd be talk, we've both in the same room, where national issues would come into play. They discuss those first, nothing to do with Medford. And then you had a key issue like the Charter Commission, what's going on with the charter. And boy, we wouldn't get started till 10 o'clock at night on some of that stuff. And a lot of people do have to go to work and everything else. So, good answers, Nate. I appreciate the honesty too. And that's a big thing. Do you see any steps being taken, by the current administration, to resolve some of these issues you just talked about? Is there anything going on that you think is going to resolve these issues? You think it's possible to resolve? Put it that way.
I think people are trying, but John, if everything was hunky-dory, I wouldn't be running.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that the administration needs to really consider doing an audit of the city finances.
Okay.
When we're talking $5 million that's missing from the school committee budget and then found, and $34 million,
Yep.
we're making Enron and Arthur Anderson look good here.
Okay.
That's nothing to laugh about.
No, but good answer. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I think that in terms of the sense of community, There's a lot of red tape. I'm going to tell you a story real quick. So I told you I got little guys. One
Yep.
of my favorite parks I like to go to was Logan Park. There was a little fire truck, like playground thing for kids to go, little kids to play on.
Right.
And I had my son with me, and I noticed the wooden boards were, they were in rough shape, and I didn't want my kid to get splinters or any other kid.
Yeah.
So I called the mayor's office, wrote an email, said, hey, listen, this is a couple boards. I get it. I'm willing to go fix it. I don't want to just go start ripping up, pressure treated wood and putting
No,
bolts in.
yeah.
I'll have the cops down.
Yeah,
and I'll be getting
not a
arrested.
good idea,
So I
yeah.
said, hey, can I get some top cover and just let them know what I'm willing to do? And this is on my own nickel, my own time. Right? This is sawing a couple boards and installing a couple carriage bolts and nuts. This isn't
Right.
rocket science. I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
This is
I
not
hear
rocket
ya.
science.
I hear you.
It became a whole production, and I talked with, she put me in touch with some of the parks folks, and nothing. And then
Yeah.
a couple months later, it got fixed, and meanwhile, I've got to watch my kid like a hawk, and I'm like, for everybody. And this was initially something that was donated to the city by a resident.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like the city wound up purchasing it or something originally either.
Right. Yep.
So
Yep.
there are people willing to do, help out the community, and not necessarily for any money. I mean, that's volunteerism, and that's a good thing.
Yep. Yep.
I think if we had a better sense of community, and maybe we find a way to eliminate some of the red tape, you'll find people are willing to pitch in.
Yep. I agree with you, and that's a good point. That's what we would call a small issue, important nonetheless. But that's a good point because it's the little things, and there's a lot of people in the city that will do the little things. That's the bottom line. So, I appreciate that. I really do. Small stuff matters. A lot of talk. You mentioned real quick the zoning in Medford, and there's so much going on right now with the zoning, meetings and people. It's on Zoom, and a lot of people, I got to be honest, they don't know too much about all the zoning, what's going on. What's your position on zoning? It's coming to Medford. I mean, they're doing things. What's your position on it? Do you have a position?
I think that zoning is a huge concern overall, and I know there's a lot of chatter about it.
Yeah.
I think my personal view is it's something we should look at, but it's like everything else, right? Extremes are not necessarily good in general, in any system, in any government, in any operation. So that said, I think right now what we're seeing is essentially it could be mass gentrification. There's a
Okay.
lot of rezoning happening all at once. I'm going to give you an example again. There's a talk of we need more affordable housing. I asked the question, what is affordable to you? I have
That's a good
two
question.
kids. I have 2 kids in daycare. I have a
Yep.
mortgage,
Yep.
right? And all the other expenses that go along with that.
Yep.
And I still somehow afford it, but we've had to make choices along the way. So more supply, right, in the city of Medford, I don't think is going to move the needle at all in terms of the cost of rent, the cost of a mortgage. So we're going to go increase the supply. And I heard from a city councilor that said,
Okay.
well, I'm not going to go explain the details of supply and demand. I got it.
Right.
But this is like attacking a tank with a toothpick. Because
Yep.
there are greater economic forces at play than anything the city of Medford can influence. So why are we addressing the zoning to begin with? Is it for the needs of the residents, and what's the benefit for the current residents of the city? So my concern with the zoning really is more about the commercial and the industrial side.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know this, but commercial and industrial pay twice the amount the residents do. And for every commercial business or industrial zone you lose, who picks up the tab? The other commercial businesses
Right. Yep.
and the residents.
Yep. And you're talking taxes. That's what you're basically talking.
Correct.
Right.
I'm talking
Yeah.
taxes,
Yeah.
but also wear and tear on
Right.
your services.
Right.
Your fire, your police, your EMS, your roads, your schools.
That's correct. Yep.
All that has to be taken into consideration. So my house is a single family house, right? That's why I came to Medford. I wanted a single family home, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people are meant for condos, and I'm not one of them.
Right. That's fine.
That's
yeah.
part of what attracted us to
Yeah.
Medford. Okay. So we know how that right now, my house under the new plan will be zoned for 3 family. So they will tear my house down. They'll buy it from me for whatever. Let's say it's
Right.
worth $750 today.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone else could buy it for $750,000 and have their family and
Right.
use a starter house.
Yeah.
Right? Instead, contractor's going to come, buy it, tear it down, turn it into a triplex, and sell each unit for $1 million. So
Right.
who's that affordable for?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, yeah. There's, it's always been about choice. I mean, I guess, my opinion, it would be nice to see some affordable housing in the city, but, there's a limit. It's how you go about it. I mean, I agree with most of what you're saying. You're making some good points here. So, you're making some very good points. So, okay, let's move from that. Let's get on to, it's no secret. You mentioned it. Economic growth in Medford. Let's, best described as stagnant. I mean, I think everyone's aware of that. It's no secret. So, as far as spending and taxes go, do you have priorities? You have a plan? I mean, what would you get elected to the city council? What are you looking to do?
I think the question isn't how do we get economic growth.
Okay.
The city is not a publicly traded Wall Street company, right? What's the metric? And I've asked that publicly before. It's not revenue dollars coming in, and every year you want more revenue, right?
Okay.
There is no, earnings ratio on the city. The metric in this case should be
I hear you.
sustainment. That's what we should be looking at. And when you have industry leaving, that's a problem. We need to fix that. It's not growth, it's just keeping what we have at a minimum. Let's try to work that. Example, August Bush, down on Riverside Ave. Before the overrides came in, right, they probably read the tea leaves and they had a choice to make. Do they operate out of Quincy or do they operate out of Medford? They chose Quincy.
Okay.
So now, latest I heard, you tell me if you've heard any different, was, Market Basket was maybe considering it, but so is the MBTA, and the MBTA is the lead bidder. They're the highest bidder last I heard.
Right.
That's over 20 acres. I think it's like 24 acres of property, commercial property.
Yes, yeah.
So if the MBTA winds up actually purchasing that property, that's 24 acres worth of commercial tax revenue gone. Because the MBTA, they'll pay the permits and fees to build their structures,
No,
but then
they
they
do
don't owe a
not.
dime for taxes afterwards. So
That's
that
correct.
burden
Yep.
is going to shift to the remaining commercial and industrial. And this just begins quicksand. It's a spiral.
Yep.
So
I
think-
hear you. Yep.
And there's plenty of vacant commercial buildings. It's not just in Medford. I've seen it actually in Malden too, near where the Aviva Trattoria is, near Exchange Street.
Right.
In
Yep.
Malden.
Yep.
Big sign, 300,000 square feet available.
Right.
Across the street from my house, 400 Riverside Ave, 100,000 square feet
Yeah,
available.
I've seen those signs too. Yep.
I think we really should be focusing on
Yeah.
and talking with them. How do we get these buildings filled? In terms of the local area, you've got Woburn, right? Woburn's got a lot of industry. Okay, when people want to go build buildings here,
Right.
they go to Woburn to go
Yeah.
get their heavy equipment.
Yeah.
They get their building materials.
Yep.
They buy steel there, right? These aren't things that necessarily negatively impact the surrounding community. In fact,
Yep.
they've done a really good job. Malden's got the Panadosi Bakery, right? They make bread. You got the New England coffee.
They have a lot.
You got National Grid.
Yeah.
What are we making? Medford.
Oh, I hear you.
Sausage.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I love Bianco sausage. Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong.
too. Me too.
But that's what
Great
we're making
product.
now
Yeah.
is sausage.
Good plug-in for Bianco's.
Absolutely. If
Yeah.
you've never been to Bianco's,
Go. Yeah.
Go.
Good stuff.
I love
Good
the chicken
stuff.
sausage.
Yeah. Good stuff.
We have
Good
vocational
stuff.
schools.
Yeah.
We're one of the few in the area. We should be promoting that.
Yep.
Minuteman's the nearest one. That's up in Lexington, and a lot
Yep.
of people don't want to drive that far.
No. Yep.
And we got to use the river. We're unique. We've got a river. We've got
Yes.
interstate access. We've got major routes and highways, and we got the T. We should be capitalizing on that and fostering it.
Yep. I think that river's gonna, if even up the square, and I'm not, but if things get done right and if people really look into it, that could be a big revenue driver.
Anything that brings people
river.
from
Yep.
out of the city into
In.
the city
Yep.
to spend money and
Yep.
support the local economy.
Okay. Yeah, no, I hear you. So it's more commercial, industrial. Spending and taxes. Spending and taxes. We can go on for weeks, but we're not going to, but we could. I know a lot of people talk, there's all different sides to this story. The two basic sides are, control your spending, let's really take a look at what you have. And, right now it looks like they're just looking for more taxes, but, the bottom line is, as far as spending and taxes, what do you think? I mean, you have any priorities? How do you feel about that ball of wax?
I think the fact that we passed 2 overrides, and don't take my word for it, look at the video. You had the city council president and you had the mayor dancing at the thought.
I heard
not
about
the thought,
that
but
video. Yep.
at the fact that
All right.
people now are only paying only $400 more a year in their
Right.
taxes. How's that working out? That's my thought.
Okay.
I mean, spending is necessary. Sometimes tax increases are necessary, but nobody should ever be happy about it, and certainly nobody
Yeah.
should ever be excited.
Yep.
I think that was the wrong attitude to have on that.
Right.
And that was a little
Yeah.
unprofessional.
Yeah.
So that said, also, we've got a lot of lawsuits happening in the city. That needs to stop. That's not doing anybody any favors,
Right.
and that's a waste of taxpayer money.
Yep.
And then there's other little gems, which I get it. You want to pay people, you want to have nice things, but when you go back to the well, now you got to start really taking a hard look and understanding what are my needs versus
Right.
my wants.
Yep.
I deal with
Yeah.
this with my kids.
We all do.
And when I see that we're paying
Yeah.
$2,000 a year for a poet laureate,
Yep.
but you ask for 500,000 for roads and streets,
Right.
I gotta wonder what else is going on. And again, when you start seeing millions
Right.
that are going missing, and people refuse to do an audit, again, this is making Enron look good, folks.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I hear you. I hear you. All right. So let's get on to something else now. You did not attend school here. I guess you've lived here for around 10 years. You said. So, Medford has rich history. I love history. That's me personally. Always a big history fan. But so you've only been here for 10 years. What do you think about the history in Medford? I mean, what do you know about the history in Medford? Put it that way.
So there's a few things in Medford, right? And you're correct. Normally the things you would learn in school, I didn't have that opportunity because I know about the things instead in Western Mass.
Right.
In my school, we learned about General Knox, and he went and captured a whole bunch of cannons from Fort Ticonderoga and brought a
Okay.
whole caravan
Yep.
through the state of Massachusetts, including my hometown, what's now Route 20, and parked them on Dorchester Heights and liberated Boston. So that's one of the things that brought my hometown to fame. Medford built clipper ships. Medford had brickyards. Paul Revere rode through on the way to go warn about the British,
Right.
trying to interfere with some patriots over in Lexington and Concord.
Right.
Apparently there's some rum that Medford is known
Medford made
for.
some good rum. Yeah.
I've never had it.
Yeah.
I heard the recipe's still around, but I've never had it.
Yeah, I heard someone's bringing it back, so that'll be interesting. Yeah.
So, so one of the ways I learned some of the history is from the Mystic River Bend Park. It's down behind the McGlynn schools
Right.
and around the corner from where I live.
Yep.
And so I went and I took some pictures
Yep.
yesterday. I went out in the rain because I wanted to make sure my information was accurate.
Yeah.
The signs look about the same rough shape that they did when I first saw them.
Right.
And it's sad because, I mean, we have community preservation funding. To me, this is literally preserving your community. It's in the name, Community Preservation Act.
That's
but
it.
some of those signs are unfortunately in such disrepair. There's graffiti on them.
Right.
And there's a lot of great info that talk about the river, how it used to be salt marshes, and where throughout the years where it changed the ecology.
Right.
Now there's graffiti on them, and they're barely readable. One of them looks like it was melted in the sun or something.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I
Right.
think we really should be
Yeah.
taking care of our city better,
Yep.
and little things like that go a long way. But that's
Yeah.
it's probably been like that for almost 10 years.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you're looking at some I like looking at the little things, a lot of big things, but it's nice that you're looking at some of the little things too that matter. They're little, but they matter.
But if you show that you
care.
care about your city, maybe it won't get trashed as easily.
Right. No, yeah, I hear you. I really do. Some great answers. All right, so I'm just going to basically, these are more like personal questions, silly questions. I don't know what you want to call them, but, we're going to have some other candidates on. I like to just find out little things. So,
Sure.
What would you say are the least and your most favorite things for you to do in Medford? So, I mean, there's got to be things you love to do and maybe some things you don't like to do. I don't know. Give it a shot. What do you think?
Sure. So, I'm a father with young kids, so I don't get to go out,
As much as you want.
As much as I want, and as much as I used to.
Yep.
So usually my fun things now involve them. So,
Okay.
but I'll say fresh donuts over at Donuts with a Difference, because that's unique.
Good choice.
Remember, I grew up when Dunkin' Donuts used to make all the donuts in every store, and the
Right.
old man was there, time to make the donuts.
Yeah.
So it's a unique thing that we have, and I love their donuts.
Yep.
They're awesome. I bring them to work with me when I can. People love them. The various parks in the city, right? I'm involved using those.
Yep.
They're great.
Yep.
But that's what I spend a lot of my time doing.
Right.
As far as things I don't like, well, I'd be remiss if I said, going to city council meetings, but I'll be honest with you, staying up till 12 o'clock at night going to city council meetings, I don't love that.
I don't think anyone loves it. Yeah.
Right.
I hear you.
And driving down my street, I don't know am I driving down, roads in the city of Medford, or am I in looking at Germany occupied France in World War II? Not sure.
So
It's
a few
coming.
potholes, huh?
Couple potholes. Not
Yeah.
not sure what happened here.
Yeah. I hear you.
And maybe I like a little bit of history.
Yeah. No, that's, good answer. And, I remember, I had 2 children, and I remember back when they were young, he did a lot of, everything is for the kids. I mean, that's the way it should be. You're
And
a
CB
good
Scoops.
father. Oh, yeah, CB
That's
Scoops.
one of the things I
There
love.
you go.
The kids love it. We go there.
Yeah.
Right, it's great.
So, so you're dealing with the kids. You're at that level. I know. I feel you.
We eat the ice cream. We watch the train go by. My kid loves trains. We literally get to see the train, and we'll sit there and just watch the bell.
I miss those days. You're bringing back good memories for me. I'm going to end we're getting down on time here, so I do want to ask you. I always ask this. Growing up in Medford my whole life, if I wanted to go find someone, I always, depending on who it was, I knew where I could go find them, put it that way. So if I wanted to find you, if I wanted to get in touch with you, Mr. Merritt, where in Medford would someone look for you? Someone wanted to meet you, introduce, whatever. Where would they meet you? Where'd be a good place to look? And I know you're busy, you got kids, but
If there's a hot topic going on, you might find me at the podium at a city council meeting on a Wednesday night.
yeah, I've seen you there plenty of times, and I've like I said, I've attended quite a few of those, and yeah, you're always there, and one of the many things I do like about you is solutions. You're always giving solutions, and that to me that's nice. It's a nice thing to hear someone, no screaming, no stomping your feet, but serious subjects, a lot of serious stuff going on. But I like it. You're offering solutions, and that's really important. So. That's about it. Unfortunately, the show's come to an end. It was a pleasure having you. It really was.
Thank you. And I do have an email address that people can reach me at.
Okay, yep. Give us
So-
the email.
It's merrittformedford@gmail.com.
Okay.
So 2 R's, 2 T's.
Yep.
And it's FOR, not the number
Yep.
4, but that's all right.
Yep. So
And I got a website that
Yep.
I'm working on, but it's not up yet. So
Okay.
I don't have an apparatus working my
Yep.
campaign. This is a grassroots, thing.
right.
So
I know what it is. Yep. Take some time. It takes a
need
lot
little
of work.
time, but
and you're a very busy guy.
we'll
Just-
get that
yeah,
up and running.
with
So
the
in the
2
meantime,
kids.
the email's good, or
Yep.
look for me at a city council meeting. Thanks, John.
Appreciate it. No, thank you too. And we'll have you back again. So when you're all set with your other accounts, we'll announce them. So we're gonna have you back. I can tell. So that's it. It's that time again. So I want to thank Nate first for joining us on Medford Happenings, and I want to thank him for being a candidate for our Medford City Council. It's nice to have some new faces, very qualified people running for the city council. I also want to take a minute. I have to thank everyone who has been watching the show. We're getting out in a lot more places. We're getting some more feedback, and we're getting good and we're getting negative, and I don't care. We'll take whatever, but it's nice to get the feedback. If you'd like to share any comments or have any suggestions for a show, or if you want to appear on a future show, please, you can contact us at johnpetrella55@gmail.com. We'd be glad to have you join us on a show. And our show has come to an end. So once again, thank you all for watching, and stay informed. Ta-da!